When these sanctions are assigned, who does the following up, for example?
Each board is different. Not to cut you off, each board is different. The person I got these forms from, she actually does it up in Johnson Smithfield. It could be a member of the board. It could be, you know, the police officer. It could be just the way you guys set up your board, where you're going to say, okay, you're going to do A, B, and C. When you get this done, you send it to the chief, or you send it to, you know, whoever the prosecution officer is here. And when everything is done, then the case is closed out. So it depends. Some boards, when money was around, when there was money around, you could go to the Governor's Justice Commission and actually get small grants to hire part-time people to do the follow-up and to do the notifications, to do all your paperwork. But because of economic times right now, that money is nowhere to be found.
It makes sense that the police department, the detective handle it, the prosecutor would handle that. They're the ones that are going to take our information and close that thing out anyway.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make sense for us to be chasing
Somewhere I
people
saw
around.
that there's one of the forms is
Yeah, there is a.
for the community service person to sign off on what they've done.
Right.
And that comes to the board supposedly sealed in an envelope that we open.
That's another thing you got to decide also. You got to decide, are you going to have follow-ups with these kids?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Some boards,
I have nothing to say about it, there's going to be a significant...
Well, what happens is some boards, what they do is the kids come in before them, they see them that one time, they give them their sanctions, they go out and they do their sanctions, and hopefully they're never seen again. There's other boards that they do reviews, and they bring the kids back in. The problem with some of the bigger boards are, there's only so many spots, because you don't want to tie your whole night up with reviews. I don't know if you saw it, one of the forms that we have in here is actually a schedule, where you go and you're trying to schedule the kids in. I don't know how many cases you plan on hearing, how many times you're going to meet. That's all internal stuff that you guys, as a board, have to figure out.
I think we're talking about starting off like once a month.
Once a month, that's probably going to be good. I don't see, I mean, looking at the Jamestown numbers, I don't think it's, you don't have stagnant.
We may not have people every month, but at least we have the
No,
dates.
we might have one or
I
two.
like the idea of
But-
being able to follow up.
But you'll be able to, this community will probably be able to follow up, which is a good thing.
Because then we take them down the road again, you know how it went the last time.
Right, exactly.
Another thing is you can tell them they did a good job if they straightened it out.
It is like that.
That's right.
It's good to get positive.
Just so you know, the parents are going to like it too, because the parents are going to have a hold on it.
Well, it's a sense of closure for the kids.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They've done something and they succeeded.
It started with us, the
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Bit of pride.
Yeah.
So, to kind of digress a little bit, the first form, the confidentiality form, that's utmost probably with the family court is very, very important, confidentiality. Being a small community like Jamestown, there's going to be times that your neighbors, maybe even relatives are going to be involved. What you would hope that, you know, that the ethical thing to do would be to recuse yourself from the hearing, have one of the alternates sit in on the case, and have the case, you know, disposed of. Also being a small community, that it's not discussed amongst outside of the walls of the hearing board. Unfortunately, as you know, being a teacher, that nobody communicates better than the kids. Before they even leave the parking lot, they're going to be texting their friends, I went to the hearing board, I've got 20 hours, I got this, I got that. So what happens here in the board is going to really be a determining factor as to how much credibility the board has. So the way things are handled are usually going to be, before you know it, it's going to be all over the island and probably over in North Kingston, because a lot of the kids
We're real close now.
they're very close to the high school, and they're going to be, everybody's going to know. So, but the confidentiality, as long as it doesn't come from this room, then there's no
We can't stop the kids from talking about their own.
That's exactly, or the parents or whatever. But as far as the board members go,
And, you know, we have to leave blood on this too, so
Yeah.
the night will
there's also a form, what do we call it, admission of sufficient facts form. It's in there. And all that basically is saying is that they've been charged with the following crime, that they're going to submit to the jurisdiction of the hearing board.
Is that the waiver?
What are you talking about?
This one right here, the,
The one that says a waiver?
waiver. Yep.
Undersigned.
Unassigned charge with the following crime, request to be waived out of Rhode Island Family Court System to the Jamestown Juvenile Hearing Board. All right, what they're basically doing there is they're saying, okay, you have jurisdiction over me, whatever you decide to do, then that's what I'm going to abide by. If they fail to live up to their part of the bargain, like I said, you can vacate the disposition and you can always send them to family court afterwards. What some of the boards do is that they send a letter, the prosecution officer sends a letter saying Johnny Jones was before the Jamestown Juvenile Hearing Board, did not complete the community service, didn't do what he was supposed to do. So that way, at least the people up in family court will know that they had a shot here.
Coming back.
Yep.
From your experience, have you found kids in a town that has a new board that they test to see how much clout the hearing board has?
Oh, absolutely. Of course they do. They test you. They're going to test you.
Yeah.
They're going to see. You got to be very consistent though, because if you're not, what's going to happen? Like I said, kids network very, very well. If two kids get in trouble and one's a first-time offender and comes here to the board, and the other one gets sent to family court, and you're giving them 50 hours of community service in family court, they're going to get 10 hours of community service. What ends up happening is kids aren't thinking long-term, they're not thinking down the road, how's this going to affect me later on when I go to, you know, and just so everybody understands is that sometimes these things do follow you into adult life. We get calls for background checks all the time for people in the military or going to military schools, and they want police departments.
I have to do a background check to go over to NK.
Yeah, but what ends up happening is, you know, it could follow you, and they don't think that. So you get to the family court system, now you have a number, now your name is in the system, and there's always the perception of, you know, why is it there? Even though most of the records are sealed, you know, why is that stuff, you know, why is it there? You know, the military recruiters are in family court every single day, going through, you know, looking to see if there's any, you know, what's going on.
So in the situation that you just said, family court gives 20 hours, hearing board gives 50 hours. If initially it's explained to the kids that this is, you know, doesn't go on a record, that they comply with everything,
There's no
does
record.
that hold weight with the kids? If the outcome with their friends seems less severe?
Yes, it does, and I think it more with the parents.
With the parents, okay.
Because the parents don't want that
Right.
stigma of being involved when my child went to family court. You know, coming here, there's no record, there's no record of it anywhere, that's it. We don't know. The only thing that we require at family court is that on a yearly basis, that we send out a form that is filled out by the coordinator or his designee, or the chief and his designee as to how many cases were heard at your board, what type of sanctions, what the demographics were, boys and girls, what their ages were, and it's pretty self-explanatory. There's no names on it, so I don't know if you know, Harry Jones next door was, I have no idea. So there's no record of the kids' names. It's just, you know, Jamestown heard 20 cases last year, and 10 were boys, 10 were girls. They were all 16, 17-year-olds, and they were caught drinking at a house party. That's all we know. We don't know who those people are. So it is an anonymous thing. So it is.
There's got to be kids who just slip up. And this is what this is meant really.
Right, I mean, kids are gonna be kids. And what we screwed up when we were kids, you know, it was handled at home.
Well, yes.
And now
But
it's a whole different
You
ballgame.
know, zero tolerance at school, and there are times when kids don't need to be, you know, suspended, but they are because of the zero tolerance.